Well, I'm going to bring up a number of other facts about gun control probably you don't hear as much, because you probably heard all the regular arguments about totalitarian governments and stuff like that. But I'm going to point out exactly another method they're going to use to control guns. It's through psychiatry. The healthcare profession, for one. Now, this woman is addicted to her bicycle. That's why she's sitting on the couch, and she's undergoing therapy because she can't stop riding her bicycle. Right? Anyway. But the thing is, with psychiatry, there's absolutely no empirical evidence. You know, before, and if you go back, not even that many years. I mean, just go back in the 1900s, in the 20th century. They were actually physically removing organs from people because they said that would help them. They were actually performing lobotomies, which were permanent, by severing the nerve behind the eye. They were doing that. And it was public outcry that stopped this. But, you know, this goes back to the medieval times. These people, if they weren't psychiatrists back then, they were like religious people. They were saying that people were possessed by the devil, and I deem that you're possessed by the devil, and all this kind of crap, and they were burning them at the stake. These people that are in these types of professions, most of them are freaking evil as all hell. And if they call themselves a Christian, they're not. They're not. They wouldn't be in that profession because they're more aware of just how evil these professions are. These professions are going to be used to control guns, but not just control guns, but control the population. It's been in the works for years, and now the technology and the medicines and the chemicals are stronger and stronger. Don't buy into psychiatry and psychology or whatever is going to be screening people who can own guns. They are the complete fault of these shootings. The psychiatric drugs are what enable these shootings. They take away the inhibitors that people normally have in their mind about doing something. And there's absolutely no control as to how much these people are getting. And don't tell me they can make it so there's control, because no matter what you do, you add more jerks in there with more rules and more forms and crap. That's all they do, and they get paid big bucks for it, and that's somebody's paying them for it too. You're not getting a service from these people at all. I just want to point out something too. Psychotronic weapons. This goes back a long time. I'll post where this is. It's actually at the dawn of the scientific technical progress, dictators and rulers of totalitarian governments, which can be even said that's going on in the United States, except we do it through money. You know, don't think it doesn't happen. When they voted for, the bailouts and everything for the big banks, that was against the public will. They did it anyway. So figure out who the hell runs the country. It's been this way for a while, though, right? Dictators and rulers of totalitarian governments dreamt about how to embody the most ancient occult sciences and hidden potentials of mankind's psyche in technical weapons in order to do, with their help, make their own populations obediently conformist, blindly fulfilling the wishes of the dictator and his associates. That's really what the hell psychiatry is about when it's going to be controlled by the government. I'll guarantee you this, 110%. And anybody that's a Christian is part of this. They're not a Christian, they're a Satanist. Sometimes I think Christ is a bunch of garbage, because every time I look around, I see Christians involved in this garbage. So who the hell knows what Christ was really about? But his followers sure ain't about what he said. One of the founding fathers of the national psychotronic weapons became the academician Bertyarev. In 1925, Bertyarev's group conducted the first experiments on collective suggestion of emotions over a distance. Mass suggestion was achieved with the radio set. Just like we all know that the mass media brainwashes people. And, people say this is not true, that, suggestive things that they put into things aren't true and they don't happen. Well, you know what? Advertisers are constantly using these methods. Don't tell me they don't work. Advertisers use these methods all the time. They do work. So, the American population is going to get brainwashed one way or another. Actually, my theory is, and now this is something I'm showing here with the codes, but I'm going to get into this in a second with the psychiatric profession. But my theory is, actually, a lot of the productivity and innovation and entrepreneurial spirit has been stifled by all the crappy meds, whether they come from psychiatrists or they come from the medical profession that have been given to people, besides the crappy food. You know, if you look at what the United States developed in the past with innovation and productivity, smarter ways to do things, plus working harder, we did everything. We did everything. So what's really the problem? You know, these jerks can look at all the freaking numbers in the world. And you know what? If the psychiatric profession started making 10 times the money, I guarantee you everybody else would be making 10 times less or even more less money than the psychiatric profession, because they're wrecking the United States. They're evil people, and they damn well know it. Most of the meds can be replaced with simple things. Very simple things. Actually, if you sit a person that is troubled and you stick them on the beach and they watch the waves, I'll bet you it'll do more for them than it would all those stupid medicines these jerks give them. And they damn well know it, because they're in the business of money and profit and control. And it's through them that the elite are actually going to control the populations, and it's going to be the way they're going to use it for gun control. The actual problem why most of the shootings happened over even the last couple decades was their crappy drugs. Their crappy drugs. I'm going to mention a couple other things, a couple other angles besides this, though. But I want to get over this real quick. This is the diagnostic, and it's called the DSM codes, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders codes. They're the billing codes. Now, I don't really have a very detailed thing on here, but I just want to point out something. Besides, if you go to a specific psychiatrist, they will take a normal person, they'll diagnose them with things many times, or there'll be different diagnoses for depending on the psychiatrist you go to. It'll be vary, just like which way the wind blows or something. It's ridiculous. But if you look at the codes that say unspecified or not other NOS, not otherwise specified, there's 23 codes out there besides all the other hundreds of codes out there where they could just say unspecified. In other words, it's got absolutely really no descriptive element in it even. It's like, you know, are you hearing things? No. Are you seeing things? No. Well, you have a psychosis unspecified. Because we need to find something first. In the meantime, we need to put you on this, this, and that. See? This is what these jerks are about. This is pseudoscience. This is the science that came from the religious witch hunters back in the medieval days. And even in the modern days, they used to cut out people's organs, give them severe electroshock therapy, and permanently disable their brain through frontal lobotomies. And this was only like less than 50 years ago. So, these are the people you're putting in control of who gets guns. Forget it, pal. That's wrong. This is freaking wrong as all hell. Now, I'm going to say something else, too. Now, here's a person that's, healing herself through playing in the mud with her bicycle. She's getting over her psychosis, whatever. Now, another thing is, you think the military is the safe ones to have guns? How many times has a person, especially when there was a draft out there, like even also when you have people going up to court and they're going through the judge and they got in trouble for stealing and breaking into entering and doing this kind of stuff. Well, Your Honor, I'm joining the Army, or I'm joining the Marine Corps, or I'm joining the Navy, or joining the Air Force in 3 weeks. In lieu of going to jail, you're going into the military. So those are the guys, those are the people that are getting the guns. And you're going to trust that? You think there's a lot of control over that? You know what you got? Going up the echelon of command in the military, you got the biggest kiss-ass yes man going. Anybody with any degree of integrity that really would stick to the Bill of Rights and stick up with the American people gets weeded out. They want yes men. And it's controlled by the biggest yes man in the country, the commander-in-chief, who is put in place by the money power in this country. So tell me, how do you feel safe? Ha! With the military having all the weapons? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Now, actually during the draft times, and this is, I'm going to say this out of respect for people actually who are criminals and stuff, but even during draft times, they always say you get the dredges of society in there and all this kind of crap. Even look in any country, whether it be the Japanese actually in defending the islands that were coming up to the mainland, they had like the dredges of the Japanese society in there defending the islands and stuff of the mainland of Japan. And you know what? They were the best fighters going. They were the best fighters going. It's kind of crazy. Like sometimes the biggest criminals are the best defenders of the country. Because actually they do have an entrepreneurial and patriotic spirit in them. The real devils are on the top. And those are the ones you better fear the most. I'd have less problem with, in many cases, with a gang member than I would with a freaking criminal politician. Or somebody high up in business, or a psychiatrist. Those are the biggest criminals in the world. And anybody in the medical profession, for the most part, they actually kill people and make a lot of money off of it. That's what they do. So, the medical profession, I can call them basically mass murderers. Through chemotherapy and radiation therapy for cancer, to the actual quack methods they use to treat diabetes and lower blood cholesterol. I could go over a lot of different things, like they give people Lipitor and Crestor, which lowers their CoQ10. Now in Japan, they'll tell you, CoQ10, we have to give it to you by law because it lowers your CoQ10. It makes it dangerous for your heart. In the United States, they don't even tell them anything about it. Here, just take this shit. They don't care because they're going to make money off of you. Getting worse. That's the way they are. So you got to remember, the medical profession is going to be used, the national health care, which is the complete control of America, drugging of America. And you remember, in the Soviet Union, the gulags weren't the main places that were filled up. It was the psych wards. And they used to give them some. And you know what they do is they give them types of stuff which is not like a lobotomy in a physical way, where they actually cut that nerve behind your eye. They give them drugs that do the same thing, which will permanently damage your brain. So that's how they make people conform. And considering it's national health care, they can do it. So you got a choice: either fight them or you're going to die. Plain and simple. In my case, I could look at it. I don't really give a shit. The people out there with the huggy-feely families and the children, have fun. I don't give a shit. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Actually, these are the type of people that are more, into, oh, you can't have this, you can't have that. But, I could look at it like this. I see a lot of people out on the street in cars that are drunk, that are high, that drive irresponsible. Well, you know what? Yeah, I guess they get their licenses taken away eventually and stuff like that. But there's really no testing that much for it, is there? Is there actually a psychiatric evaluation to drive a car? Hell no. But there's a difference actually between using a car as a weapon, because actually a car can actually kill people far more easily than a gun. But the difference between a car and a gun as a weapon is you can't use the car to specifically get at your oppressor. You can get at anybody in general very easily, but you can't use your car to get at your oppressor. That's the problem. A gun can. That's the difference, and that's why you have guns. Actually, guns are less lethal than a lot of other methods to just kill a general population if you just want to kill people. You can poison the water. You can poison the air inside of a building. You could do all kinds of things. You could do it slow. You could do it sneaky. You could do it all kinds of ways. A gun is very obvious. It makes a big, loud noise, right? Even if it doesn't make a loud noise, it's still obvious, right? It's like, but the thing is, the gun is the only thing that can reach out and hit your oppressor. A car can't. But a car can be used more effectively to kill a lot of people if you're crazy. So basically, there should be more car control if you're worried about nuts. But I'm going to say this. Even the Sandy Hook shooting, there was another gunman because, I saw the news reports and I just saw, I don't want to get into all this stuff because I've been going with this for decades, and I realize, when you tell people facts, they tend to ignore them anyway. So I really don't give a shit. But there was a second gunman, because even in the police reports and actually in the video cameras shown from the helicopter, they showed the cops running after a second gunman, even after Andrew Lanza was dead inside the building. So that was a setup, too. That was a setup. And it smells like a setup. But let me put it to you this way again, just to review. These codes from these wacko psychiatrists and control freaks are going to be used against anything. Anything. And you know what? They could do it against private property rights. Anything. Anything. They could steal everything you have. Just say you're crazy. You're crazy? Forget it. You're now in control of the United States Mental Health Institute. You can't own anything. They're going to do far more than guns. After they get you guns, then they're going to do this to you. So, I don't give a shit, to tell you the truth. If the American people buy into this, go to hell. That's my opinion of them. But I think they're not going to. I think they are going to buy into it, because for the most part, people are stupid and dumber than dirt. There's only a few people that actually have enough brains to see what the deal is from the get-go. Most people are idiots. Most people are complete idiots. So I'm figuring the bad guys are going to win. And it's not because they're smarter. It's because the average person is lazy. So that's really what the deal is.